Hey joys and jurls, it's me, the best Jhin in the world. Some might call me a progeny. I'm here to show you Jhin's new favorite standard build. We're going to be driving him crazy because it's all about the number 3. No climaxing for you, buddy. Jumping straight into it, Jhin is a very unique marksman in the fact that he's an unconventional ADC. He fulfills the role in everything a marksman needs to do, but does it in a very unorthodox manner. A marksman is typically defined by a champion that is built to do consistent damage over time, primarily with auto attacks. This class of champions has very high DPS, low survivability, and somewhat wishy-washy utility. Due to being very squishy, they're commonly paired with the support in the bottom lane in order to protect them so they can farm up to their late game fantasy. Jhin's passive, Whisper, is a bunch of passives wrapped up into one. The first, Death in 4 Acts, gives Jhin an ammunition system. Jhin has a total of 4 auto attacks before he has to reload. Every 4th auto attack automatically crits towers, and does percentage health damage to champions and minions. The second part of his passive, Every Moment Matters, is what this build is built around. Jhin's bonus attack speed and crit chance are converted into AD. Additionally, Jhin also converts additional attack speed into bonus movement speed whenever he lands a crit. This right here is what makes this build on Jhin so meaty. So powerful. Fully utilizing his passive to the fullest. I'd like to point out that I'm only talking about Jhin's passive because it's the only part of his kit that is really relevant to this build. I didn't clarify that in my last video, that the reason I'm not going to go over the champion's whole kit is because the rest of their kit is relevant to what we're building. It's going to be the same gameplay regardless of this build or their standard build. The big meat and potatoes of this build is Kraken Slayer. Obviously at a glance, Kraken Slayer seems to be an awful item on Jhin. Its passive activates every 3rd auto attack. Jhin has 4 very slow attacks, about 1 attack per second plus reload time. Jhin won't be proccing Kraken Slayer very often, but the passive isn't what we're buying the item for anyway. It's the mythic passive. Kraken Slayer's mythic passive gives all other legendary items that you build a bonus 10% attack speed. With your other items minus boots, that's a bonus 40% attack speed. I'm no math genius, but that generates a lot of extra AD and movement speed for Jhin. At full build with his other standard items, Collector, Rapid Fire, IE, Other, Jhin gains about an extra 50 to 60 AD. That's quite literally an extra item's worth of stats. Now you might be saying, but Gale Force gives Jhin the survivability he needs. The extra damage on the active allows for combos. And you're right about that. You're absolutely right. Gale Force is indeed a good item on Jhin, especially super late game when you're desperate for more power and decide to sell your boots for more damage. It pretty much keeps you at boots movement speed with its passive. But we're here to literally do massive damage. We're not here to win our ranked games, even though the series is to find possible ranked viable builds. Have you ever heard of the Fast? Back in the old days, Jhin would stack as much attack speed as he possibly could to have him become one of the fastest units in the game. The old build consisted pretty much of every Zeal item, Berserker's Greaves, and an Infinity Edge just to actually be able to do damage. All the attack speed Jhin stacked overloaded his passive pretty much to make him move as fast as Quinn when she's taxiing. Building Kraken Slayer is pretty much the new way to build the Fast. With the 50% bonus attack speed you're getting at full build, your crits are going to give you around 750 to 800 move speed. That's insanely fast. That is if you actually decide to build the Fast. With the normal build you'll get maybe 680, which is still a considerable amount. The differing factor with Kraken Slayer though is the fact that you'll have a lot more AD than you would have with the previous Fast build. Kraken Slayer gives 65 AD, one of the highest AD items in the game, combined with the 25% attack speed it gives you. And the mythic passive, the amount of AD you get is outrageously increased. Gale Force gives you only 60 AD and 20% attack speed. Strictly speaking about stats, Kraken Slayer is a way better item to buy when only talking about stats, and not just on Jhin, but every other ADC in the game too. Jhin builds Gale Force because he has an insane synergy with this item. It provides mobility, the active synergizes with his W, it's a great amount of extra damage when executing an enemy, an amazing combo piece. But like, he doesn't need it. Just because Jhin attacks solely, does that really mean he can't utilize the unique passive of Kraken Slayer? I mean, he kinda can. The Kraken Slayer passive charges up for 3 auto attacks, and on the 3rd auto attack, unleashes a more powerful attack that deals bonus true damage to enemies. Now this normally isn't too big of a bonus. On a normal ADC like Caitlyn, Kraken Slayer will do a bonus 161 damage at full build with a total AD stat of like 350. However, Jhin's gonna have like 5 million AD at max level. 736 if his build is standard. Kraken Slayer procs will start doing massive 329 true damage. Now it's not often that it procs, but that's a massive amount of damage that you get to do for absolutely free. The only cooldown on it is how long it takes for you to do another 3rd auto attack. Gale Force active does a lot more damage, but it's only activated once per fight, only able to execute low health enemies or to escape damage. With Kraken, the damage is a lot more consistent and dependable. The cooldown on Kraken passive is a lot longer than imagined. It lasts long enough for you to be able to continue stacking it after reloading. The downside being that you have less survivability. This is like super glass cannon Jhin. Now that I've convinced you that Kraken Slayer is not a bad item on Jhin, I have a surprise. This video is a twofer. I'm not talking about a weird item now, I'm talking about a rune. That's right, Hail of Blades. Looking at it at face value, you might believe that Hail of Blades is an awful keystone to take on Jhin. I mean, look at I Keep It Taco. The rune is mentioned nowhere in his Jhin guide, but the reality is that this rune gives Jhin possibly one of the biggest power spikes he can get. At just level 1, this rune gives Jhin a 19 to 21 AD power spike. That's literally more AD than what 2 Doran's blades can get you. That's literally about 600 gold worth of stats for completely free. This rune is insane for short trades and pretty much guarantees a 1 fight every time, especially when paired with an aggressive support. It's not all great though. This rune does start giving you diminishing returns as the game lengthens. It's not bad as your build progresses, mind you. At level 18 with full build, you're going to be gaining literally 100 bonus AD for a short burst, but the downside comes in how it's going to be used. When you take Hail of Blades on Jhin, you take it to win early game fights, snowball and dominate the game that way, pretty much forcing you to end the game early. When you take Dark Harvest, Jhin's current standard rune, you're definitely taking it to play late game. Dark Harvest stacks infinitely and also resets upon getting a kill. One of these runes is obviously going to outperform the other in the teamfight stage of the game. However, you may have noticed that I pointed out that both of these runes have massive power spikes on Jhin at different points in the game. So when's it appropriate to take Hail of Blades on Jhin? Honestly, I'd say it's completely matchup dependent. Not just your enemies, but your support too. Do you have a lane that you know you'll win? Win it harder with Hail of Blades. Need to farm and play it back? Go Dark Harvest. I'm starting to make this video too lengthy for the kind of point I'm trying to get across, so I'm going to wrap things up by encouraging you to, at the very least, try Kraken Slayer and Hail of Blades on Jhin. It's quite a spicy playstyle that would blue ball the man in question, never getting to truly reach his climax due to how you've treated him throughout the game. But it will all be worth it when you're beating your enemies, allowing their jungler to type ADC gap in chat. Just give it a try. I really want to thank you for watching this video. Hopefully it inspired you to try this build out or even make your own. I know that off-meta stuff is a pretty hot topic. This is also the part of the video where I literally get on my knees, asking you for likes and comments, and for you to smash that like button. Tell me what other builds you'd like to see, and I'll see you in the next one.
Hurry, I'm scared.
Think I'm scared? Fuck these bitches.
It is only when the gun shoots.
Oh,
that
I'm coming.
Waiting.
Go. Bye. Okay.